Hey everyone, Dominic here with the Raving Hordes Game Club in Saskatoon. Today we've got round 2 of the 2019 Canadian Open. The second game was Refused Flank with the Breakthrough scenario. My second opponent was Vampire Covenant as well. So let's get right into it. Like I said, it was Refused Flank, so here's a quick look at my deployment. Barrow Guard up front there, Shrieking Horror, Blood Knights, Vampire Knights, I guess, with Vampire Courtier in there. Skeleton, Sword and Board with the Army General. Big unit of zombies, Batswarm. There's a Varkalak. And way over here, I put a unit of Barrow Knights. For he's also got a unit of Vampire Knights. He had a unit of Direwolves. Zombies, Batswarm, Direwolves, Skeletons with Spears. He's got his general Lamia bloodline in here. Beside that, he's got some Wraiths, another unit of Batswarms, and a big unit of Barrow Guard with great weapons, I believe is what they had, with a Necromancer and a Barrow King BSB. Way over there, he has his Varkalak. He did a Vanguard. That Varkalak had moved up. The one unit of dogs, both units of dogs moved up, and my Varkalak moved up in the center there as well. I took turn 1, and that's kind of what things were looking like before we got into it. So for terrain, impassable, forest, hill, a fence, a field, and a water feature. So starting my turn 1, I kind of start moving up on the far left. The Varkalak changes direction, sort of misdirection there, gets in front of the Direwolves. Barrow Knights kind of move up a little bit there. And everything else just kind of moves. To Magic Phase, I don't actually think anything really happened in my Magic Phase. Pulling my luck from the last game in the Magic Phase, I think I whiffed pretty hard again. Just not able to get any spells actually cast again, so yeah, didn't do anything. For him, he's got I guess this is already the start. That's the table going into his turn. So moves up the dogs. Over here moves up the knights. Moves up most of the rest of his army there. The wraiths kind of go through. The Varkalak is still holding back, his Varkalak that is. Everything else is slowly advancing. And I don't really have a good picture of it here, I don't think. But this comes up right away, right here. And I hope that I took a better picture of it. He goes into Magic Phase. I think he did the Raven's Wing. He got off on those Wraiths, and they moved around. Like so. There's a perfect picture. So like I said, this picture here is pretty important to keep because there's that massive gap in between here. And yeah, I think that was pretty much it. There was no shooting. That was pretty much it for Magic. Didn't do anything. And then this is the table as we go into my turn 2. This side, I wonder if I took pictures of it. Alright, so in my turn, I'm going to go back to this one here. This Varkalak, well actually to start, I declare a charge from these Barrow Guard right into these guys. And my opponent comes over and he says, I chaffed you. Note that giant space there. So I pivot my unit right on its corner and easily swing past them to go pretty much parallel with these guys. And then I can go right into these guys, no problem. Very easy to make. As I pivot, my opponent says, well, now you've moved them, and doesn't believe me. And I wasn't really in the mood to argue with him, so I said, you know what, I'll let you have it. And then I said, the Varkalak declares a charge against here, to which he responds, oh, I didn't know he was facing that way. Which it's pretty obvious, going back into that he's facing this way. Like the whole model is directed like that. I'm like, alright, turn 2, we're already getting into it here apparently. Like I said, giant space. That's photo evidence before my turn even happened. This guy's clearly facing this way. Yeah, so fun opponent. Like I said, the Varkalak made it. The rest of my units move up. We go into magic phase. I cast Pentagram of Pain on these dogs. I don't think anything happened. I think I failed again. My 1 and a 1. Cast Spectral Blades on these guys just to give myself an extra Veil token. That's pretty much it. Went into, I think we had one of the combat there. Maybe not. Let's see. Alright, yeah, I've definitely missed some stuff here. So this combat happens. He caused a single wound to me. I caused, I think, 4 wounds to him. 3 or 4. I think it was 3 wounds to him. I make my vampiric roll, so I gain my wound back. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, here's where things also get a little janky again, because this is what the table is going to be looking like, as you can see. And I was getting a little bit flustered from that first turn movement there, or the second turn movement where he said I couldn't do this. But basically what ends up happening, this is his turn too. These guys declare a charge against the Barrow Guard, I think is, I forget what they did. This guy declares a charge here. No, I think these guys went here or something like that. But basically what ends up happening, these guys declared a charge, but I don't think, for whatever reason, there was something there with that, looking back, that I don't think they were actually able to make that charge. But either way, it allows him to get the skeletons into the flank here. You see this charge failed, and it just gave him enough movement to get in here. It gets in the flank, looking like that. These guys, they pivot on the center, and they're facing this way, and they're gonna run, I guess. The Wraiths, I think, had declared a charge against something that was over here. They failed the charge. They're looking like that. And the rest of the guys just kind of move up. That's pretty much it. I don't think Magic really did anything here. I think he tried, and this unit was raised anew. And there was one other thing that he did that didn't really make a big difference. It was in the Varkalak fight. But other than that, he tried to move these guys, and I stopped it. Combat phase wipes out the Varkalak. Only overruns 3 inches or something like that, 3 to 4 inches. Needed a 5 to get it, or needed a 6 to get it. Something. Didn't make it. The Knights reform on the spot to face 180 degrees this way. And these guys are just sitting here. Into turn 3 for my vampire counts. The zombies go into the flank here. The Barrow Knights, or the Barrow Guard, go into the front of those dogs. These guys tried to march, failed the march test, just stumble forward. These guys, I think they continue to swing around the flank a little bit and reposition the back ranks as well. Magic phase. I did a bubble Pentagram of Pain, trying to do some damage, and did more damage to myself than I ended up doing to him, but that was fine. I also then cast a bubble Raise Wounds and just got them back. So this is into combat already right here. Knocked him down to just 2 Wraiths with the charge in the flank and standard super flank, all of that. Had 2 left. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The Barrow Guard easily dispatch of the dogs. And that's kind of the look at the table after turn 3. So going into his turn 3 now, that big unit of skeletons with Lamia Vampire charges the rear of my Barrow Knights. And I think that was pretty much it. He continues to back off with most of his units and try and swing around this way. The Knights reform on the spot to face this way. And that's pretty much it. Again, his Varkalak is also kind of doing this dance of backing up. Goes into magic, heals a wound, raises a new unit of zombies, and I think that's pretty much it. I think he did a, oh yeah, there was one other one. He did the Danse Macabre in a bubble, moved up these 2 zombie units, plus his Barrow Guard, as well as the bats. So that all moved up. Go into combat, wipes these guys out, no problem. Reforms on the spot to face the other way. And that's, I wipe out the Wraiths in the other combat. And then that's kind of where we're looking at going into my turn 4 already. So these zombies here, they declare a charge against his raised zombies, and this skeleton unit declares a charge over here. I needed a 9 to get him, and as you can see I rolled a 3, so my good luck continues. And I had also declared a charge from these bats over here into the flank so that these guys could just keep wiping through units as we go on, and 3 1s. That's, again, super good luck. So do those failed charges. The rest of my side here moves up, and I think this picture is taken out of place. We go into the magic phase, which again I don't really think did much of anything. I think I tried and wiped off some guys with Pentagram of Pain, which didn't really do much. It's more just trying to use up some dice. The rest of the spells either didn't get off or got stopped. So yeah, my zombies wipe out his zombies, no problem. Overrun into those dogs. I think this is actually from his turn. Could be. This could actually be in his turn now. Continues to move. He's continuing to move this way. In his, yeah, this would be going into his turn. Not sure if I took a picture of that. There it is. So yeah, he moves the Varkalak behind the hill. Continues to move up around that other flank. I think there was a failed charge. Like this was a failed charge. They declared a charge against some bats that I had. Failed that charge. Continued to move up here. Kind of blocked in his knights unintentionally. And that's what the table's looking like. Magic phase. He did Raven's Wing on these guys, I believe. One of the 2 movement spells. Moved them there. Raised some wounds. And I think that was pretty much it. So, in the combat, I wiped out the dogs and overran into his next bat swarm. So into my turn 5, both the knights and the Barrow Guard declare a charge against this bat swarm. To this guy, we took forever to measure it out. To a point where I was actually just doing it with the knights because I had Swift Stride to overrun into this guy, but he didn't think I had the movement, so I just declared it with both of them. Got in like so. This is only 9 inches to that Varkalak for the overrun, and it does hit him. Bat Swarm over here declared a charge against these zombies, so wipe out the Bat Swarm, overrun to these guys. I was hoping knock them out and then do something in a better position, essentially. Goes into magic phase. Did Pentagram of Pain, knocked off, looks like 1 guy. Spectral Blades on my unit. And that's pretty much it. We go into combat, and the zombies finish off the bats just like I figured, but fail a 4-inch overrun into the flank of these zombies. So we did this fight. I won it though. He's down like 3 models or something like that. Not a lot. I put up my bats to maximize because I only had the first bat swarm in at the beginning. Over here we fight this one. and with everything, with my charges, my banners, and only did terrible amount of wounds, he's got 2 wounds left on him. Interesting thing is that after this, I kind of jokingly said to him, like, well, if I would have beat this Bat Swarm, let's see if I would have overrun and actually hit this guy. And of course, I rolled an 11. So, would have got into the Varkalak, and that would have been bad news bears for him. Even more so, which was upsetting, that I was flustered from earlier parts of this movement, and I forgot that I do multi-wound against standard, which Bat Swarms are standard. So, this Bat Swarm would have just been entirely wiped out before combat res, and that overrun should have happened. Hindsight 2020. But yeah, that's kind of what the table looks like if we go into his 5. So his 5, that Barrel Guard unit comes into the flank, takes like nothing for dangerous terrain tests in there. The rest of his units kind of just shimmy up. They don't need to do any much. Magic. He casts something here on... I forget what it was. I think it was some raising of some wounds. I don't know if it did too terribly much, to be honest. He did lower... I think he lowered the stats of this guy. But that was about it. You can see his Varkalak got the hell out of dodge, moved way over here. And yeah, we go into combat. I continue to fight him over here. I actually win. Over here, he obviously wins, but knocks me down to just a few guys, I think, is what the end of that is. Yeah, there's looks like 7 or 8 guys left in that zombie unit. And then he reforms and slides all the way down here, like so. My turn, I don't think I took a picture of the turn marker, but I decided to pivot these guys. These guys both declared a charge into the flank of that Barrel Guard unit. Unfortunately, only the Shrieking Horror made it in. Like that. And yeah, these guys are just going, sitting here. I was hoping if I do well over here by some miracle, I'm contesting the objective, or at least grabbing it if I do even better. But that's kind of a far-fetched hope. So we go into Magic. Pentagram of Pain. Caused a few wounds. And then the combat. He wipes out my zombies. I wipe out a bunch of his guys, but he is stubborn, reforms on the spot, and faces me there. He's in the water. The bats have only taken a single wound. They're continuing there. And yeah, going into turn 6 for him, I believe now. It's turn 6 for him. That Varkalak comes into the flank. Magic. He raises a bunch of guys here, basically meaning that he's grabbed the secondary because this was an original unit, original scoring unit. So now they're back up to a bunch now, as well as he raises a bunch of wounds on the Barrel Guard. But that's pretty much it. We go fight that. Oh, we cast Spectral Blades on himself as well. Wipes out my bat, wipes out the Shrieking Horror, and that's the end of the game. So again, another kind of crappy game for me for dice. I had a lot of things that went wrong, as well as that beginning fluster with the movement kind of thing. Like I said, that image is can't really lie like that. So, but tallied up the points. Plus he got the secondary. It ended up in a 15-5 win for him. So not doing so hot after 2 games, only sitting at 5 points. Hoping that the next game my luck finally breaks and I can manage to do some kind of something. But hope you guys enjoyed the battle, and stay tuned for the next one.